with seemingly everything on the line. The resiliency that has become synonymous with Alabama football showed up big time in the Iron Bowl last night. Let's talk about it. This team is built different, y'all. Roll Tide. 3, 2, let's go. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. Welcome into Way Offsides. Alabama gets a big rivalry victory over the Auburn Tigers, and we got to do it. We got to do it one good time for the Tide. Let me hear you say Roll Tide in the comment section below. Loud and proud, baby. Alabama goes into Jordan-Hare, Kalen DeBoer's first game in Jordan-Hare, and gets a W 27-20. It wasn't pretty, but we didn't expect it to be. Oh, man. Alabama finishes the season 10-2, 7-1 in the SEC. Likely, potentially locked in a playoff spot. I know what folks like Mike Rodak are saying. If you go look at the ESPN college football playoff projection, sure, it shows that Alabama has a 64% chance right now. But if you factor in the Iron Bowl, when even a loss in the SEC championship, they have an 82% chance of making the college football playoff. Now, there is a 100% chance that there will be controversy and a lot of differing opinions about whether the Tide should be allowed into the playoff or not if they are to lose to Georgia in Atlanta. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes. I don't think, basically you're rooting for Texas Tech to beat BYU. If that happens, I don't think it really matters what happens in Atlanta. We'll see, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Before we dive too much into this Iron Bowl preview, please, if you have not, if you're new here, go ahead and like and subscribe. It's free to you, keeps the show free. I promise it'll be the best decision you've made in 2025. All right, Alabama gets a big win in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and there's some things that we really want to talk about. We did do a post-game show where we kind of broke down the game. We talked about the stats. There's some pretty wild stuff that went on in this game. If you look at the numbers, Auburn outgained Alabama by over 100 yards of offense, especially through the air. Alabama finally was able to run the ball against a really, really good rushing offense. Just a lot of weird stuff happened in this game, as does the Iron Bowl. But Alabama, being a resilient team that they are, wins, right? I told you guys last week before Thanksgiving that turnovers were going to be key in this game. And that was the difference. Alabama did not turn the ball over, I don't think. Let me double check that. No, they didn't turn the ball over. Auburn turned the ball over twice. Very similar to what happened in the Alabama-OU game. Alabama outgained Oklahoma. And then, the 3 turnovers is really the difference in the game. That was the difference in this one. Now, immediate reactions. A lot of fans were really, really kind of upset with the performance. Going in on Ty Simpson really hard. But I got to tell you, man, I hate Auburn. I hate Auburn more than anybody else. Absolutely despise Auburn. But when you actually have watched Auburn this year, if you haven't, the games that they've lost have all been very competitive and very close. Like Georgia scored late to open up that win by 10 points. The Vanderbilt game was close. They were blowing out cupcakes, but really, like, this Auburn team was a quarterback away from being a good football team, from being a top 15 football team. I hate to say that out loud, but it's true. You tack on a lot of the variables that you can't really quantify. It's a rivalry game. It's in Jordan-Hare. It's Kalen DeBoer's first time going to Jordan-Hare. Auburn's fighting for bowl eligibility. They're fighting to keep Alabama out of the college football playoff and the SEC championship. You factor in all of those things however you might, and things did not look good for Alabama. Now, the criticism is welcome here. I don't want to just blow positive smoke up your skirts, because it didn't look pretty all the time. I do believe that there were some things that happened in this game, some decisions that were made by coaches that put Alabama and Ty Simpson in some tough spots, specifically being up 17-0 and running trick plays for no reason, when the ground game's working, when Jam Miller is obviously playing very, very well. That was, to me, that was kind of the difference in the game. That's what gave Auburn the momentum to kind of get back into the thing. Alabama was banged up going into this game. It looks like they're even more banged up coming out of it. Kind of expected that. That's going to kind of impact the matchup with Georgia, which we'll talk about a little later in the week. I still think Alabama matches up with Georgia really, really well. But you also in this game had to factor in the fact that you fired Hugh Freeze. So you've got a rejuvenated offense there who, since firing Hugh Freeze, has been putting up 500 plus yards of offense. In the game, after that goofy reverse play, a lot of things happened that went against Alabama that statistically say Alabama should have lost the football game. DJ Durkin said it after the game, and he's not wrong, that if you looked at it on paper, Alabama lost that football game. But the Tide found a way to win, just like at South Carolina. Right? Now, the national pundits, one team in the SEC, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I'm telling you, first of all, the SEC is a gauntlet. Secondly, that is a good that Auburn team was a piece away from potentially even being a playoff team. I know you don't want to hear that because, like me, you hate Auburn, but I'm trying to look at it through an unbiased lens. And I'm also telling you all of this because you should be damn proud of Kalen DeBoer. After the game, if you haven't seen it, his presser, he got a little emotional with Ty Simpson coming up, giving him a hug. And there were some things that transpired during the game, as well as that moment, that told me that Kalen DeBoer understands the SEC now. He gets it. He understands that rivalry. He understands the standard at Alabama, and he's not afraid to shy away from the challenge. What more could you ask for Nick Saban's predecessor? Now, there's still some issues. There's still some things going on. Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer are still learning how to be SEC coaches, right? They're still in that transition period from what Alabama was under Nick Saban to what Alabama's going to be under Kalen DeBoer. We talk about this all the time, the offensive line, right? There's still this kind of modge podge of past meets future, and it doesn't work all the time. So, that's why I think that's why the run game's been a little stagnant this year. I say little, a lot of stagnant this year. But I do have confidence in Kalen DeBoer that it's going to get better and it's going to work, especially with the way they're recruiting. Now, the bigger test coming up for Kalen DeBoer is going to be how can he handle coaching turnover, which is going to be a problem for Alabama under him as well, it looks like. Jamarcus Shepard takes the Oregon State job. Kane Womack's on the table for some job. Ryan Grubb's on the table for some jobs. I personally don't think either one of those coordinators are ready for a head coaching job. But what do I know? I don't get to make those decisions, just my thoughts. But if you take a step back and really look at what happened last night, you look at the aggressive calls on 4th down, 4th and 2, you throw to the end zone for a touchdown. Kalen DeBoer talked about that after the game, and he said, look, I had confidence in my defense. If we don't pick that up, my defense is going to do what we need to do. The way the defense played yesterday, I know it got a little wonky there in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Right, they were on the field a lot. Auburn was doing what teams do that gives Alabama problems with the quarterback. But they showed up big when it mattered most, which has been the MO of that defense all year. Kane Womack, hats off to you, sir. Kane Womack has done a fantastic job with Alabama's defense this year. One of the best defenses in the country throughout the regular season. Exactly what we thought they were going to be. Exactly what we thought they were going to be. Offensive side of the ball has been meh. It's been up and down. Ty Simpson's been up and down. However, Alabama hasn't been able to run the ball. When Alabama could run the ball in that game, it opened things up for Ty. He looked a little bit better down the field. Still miss some big ones. It is what it is at this point. But I am proud because when you look at last season, Clint Lamb tweeted this out probably about 15, 20 minutes ago, and he's absolutely right. You go to Oklahoma last year. Everything's on the line for Alabama that was on the line for Alabama in this Iron Bowl. Things start to go wrong for Alabama, and they fold. Completely fold. Last night, they get up. Things start to go wrong for Alabama. You've got the rivalry aspect added into this. Kalen DeBoer's first time in Jordan-Hare Stadium. All of these external factors that say Alabama should lose this football game, and a lot of people thought they were going to. And they win. Sure, the score should have probably been a little more lopsided than it was. I think if Bama doesn't run that stupid reverse play, there's a chance they hold Auburn to under 10 points in the game. That changed the momentum of everything. But again, they found a way to win. I said this after the South Carolina game. Last year's team loses that football game. That's not a knock at anybody particular. Everything was just so in flux. It's still in flux, but it's starting to settle. The dust is starting to settle. Kalen DeBoer has gotten Alabama back to the SEC championship game. Likely a college football playoff spot. And they're probably going to be better next year than they are this year. Alabama made a point last night, man. They understand their identity, who they are. Right? They're not the best offense in the country. They're not the most explosive offense in the country. They're not putting up 50 points on people. It's not there yet. Kalen DeBoer still has a few months until it's exactly what he wanted his offense to be. But this team fights. They fight. That defense fights. Hell, I don't want to discount the loss to Oklahoma, but with 3 turnovers in that game, Alabama should have gotten their doors blown off. They still only lost by 3, I think. I don't have the score right in front of me. I can't remember, but you get my point. Point was made last night in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Nobody wants to play this Alabama team right now. If they did what I think they did last night and turned a corner specifically in that run game, nobody wants to play this Alabama team that I saw last night. Because much like we talk about Georgia, even Oklahoma, this team is really, really hard to kill. Roll Tide. That's all for today. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can follow us on social media all over the place. Way Offsides, Way with 4 A's. 3's not enough. 5's too many. 4, just like in the word Alabama. We're going to be doing this whole thing with you, previewing the SEC championship game, talking about the playoffs, talking about this crazy coaching carousel we've got going on. A lot of drama coming out of Oxford, Mississippi today regarding Ole Miss, Auburn, and Florida are making hires. We're going to talk about those too. So if you're not locked in with us, go ahead and do that. And as always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands. Horns down, baby. Beat Auburn. Alabama. Kalen DeBoer beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Not bad in year 2. Roll Tide.